What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is erinbies. I am a wife, a mom, a military veteran, and I spent 13 and a half years in multi-level marketing, healed my way out, and now I'm using all of my social media platforms to educate and raise awareness around the dangers of multi-level marketing companies and the tactics used by their reps. Today is a doozy. Oh God, I don't even know where to start. I'm going to start with a little bit of a disclaimer, not a little bit, a lot, because this video is not meant to shame this individual. That's not what this video is about. My whole channel and anything that I do on social media is really about education and raising awareness, partly because I feel like I didn't have access to a lot of this information, and I want to be hopefully that person for other people. So this is not meant to shame this person. This is not meant to like go after her or anything like that. It's really about education, and it's really about awareness. This person is a public figure. I have not featured her on my channel until today that I can recall. And yeah, so little backstory in case you're brand new to this channel. My last year that I was with a multi-level marketing company called Pruvit, I was having my taxes done, and I grossed, if you will, $77,000. And my accountant did my taxes, and she called me and she was like, all right, I just finished your taxes, and you know, you net $10,000. What? So I brought in $77,000, and because of all the hidden expenses that are not discussed in multi-level marketing companies from the leaders and such, I net $10,000. Yeah. And this is something that happens all of the time. It happens all the time. And what are some of those hidden expenses that I'm referring to? Well, one, you know, different apps that many of these companies are starting to put out for their reps to use, whether it's like a customer support tool or something like that. They're charging for that. That might sound like a little bit, but that's just one example. When you are operating a business, money in versus money out. And that's why I always talk about profit and loss statement, because had I known about profit and loss statements when I was starting MLM or in an MLM in 2007, all of this would have been completely different. I feel like I would have been very much more aware of what was actually going on. But these are not things that are discussed by multi-level marketing companies, and definitely not by the leaders, because legally they can't give tax advice. So they always say, well, go to an accountant. Yeah. Anyways, hidden expenses. So apps, photo editing apps, coaching, training, events. Let's also not forget about the products. When there's new products, new flavors, new lines, those types of things, a lot of the leaders, in my opinion, use undue influence to get their new people to order the products because they want them to be a product of the product, but ultimately it boosts their group volume in which they get paid for. Let me know in the comments if you have ever ordered the new product, the new line, that type of thing, because your leader said, hey, this is coming out, this is going to be a good thing. And if you're somebody that does parties, a lot of times what they'll talk about is, you know, people are going to want to see this. They're going to buy what they see. So you start with buying the new line or the new products so that you have them. You use it as a way to, like, if you're somebody that does parties, you use it as a way to, hey, I've got the new stuff, so you want to book with me, kind of thing. And then your leader is like, well, now that you have those things to display, you need to stock those things. And that's how front loading happens. That's how all of this happens. Well, you want to, you know, the company's going to run out. So you want to make sure that you're grabbing a couple, one for, you know, for yourself to show at your parties or whatever, and then one for stock, because people aren't going to want to wait for their stuff. That's typically how this happens. And Other expenses include events, the travel, and all of that stuff that goes along with events. And one of the key phrases that many of these people, the leaders and the companies, use in order to justify people spending money on these hidden expenses is they'll say, well, it's a tax write-off. Okay, that's great. It's a tax write-off. However, it's still money in versus money out. And that is why we talk about, and I talk about, profit and loss statements the way that I do, is because the bottom line is, are you in the red? Are you in the green? Are you actually turning a profit in your business? Or like we see in a lot of these multi-level marketing companies, are you paying just to say that you're a part of the company and you're, in my opinion, a glorified customer? You hear it all the time, you know, the distributors are the customers. And that's not meant to disrespect anybody that is in a multi-level marketing company. But think about this, like look at your numbers, do a profit and loss statement. And if you're somebody that doesn't know how to do that, go to a professional, seek a CPA, a certified accountant, somebody that can help you, that can go through the bank statements, that can do all of that stuff in order to help you figure out, well, am I actually making a profit here? Or do I see money coming in and I'm under the illusion that I'm making money, but I'm ordering the new stuff? Or I have, you know, auto ships, multiple accounts, auto ships, those types of things. Sometimes we just need an expert to come in and help us see what's actually going on. So, okay, let's watch this video. And to kind of set the scenario, this was sent to me. It was screen recorded by somebody. And it is a top leader in Pruvit within the empire that is talking about her budget. And again, I'm going to say this again. I'm not doing this video to shame this individual. I'm doing this video because she is saying in her own words with a spreadsheet exactly what I have personally been saying for the last year since I have been doing anti-MLM content and have experienced for many, many years. So again, this is not to shame her. Please don't go to her account and do anything, you know, like you don't need to get in her anonymous box or question box or whatever. Don't do that. This is purely for education and awareness. Okay, let's watch this together.
Awful with money, but I am changing that narrative. So the first budget that I ever did, you guys have asked me like how I got it started. So the first budget that I ever did, the first like 30 days, I really just kind of took notice of what I was spending. So I just tracked everything that I was spending, like my monthly expenses, not like what I was spending here and there. And then I tracked everything that came in so that I had really a baseline to figure out what I was spending and what was coming in, or like what I was committed to spending every month. And I didn't even know that number. So, and then this is what I did. So this was my budget my first month. As you can see, my monthly expenses were $9,000. So I just wrote everything in that I had committed to spending every month. And then I color coded it based on what was like non-negotiable. So like my rent, non-negotiable. Hamina, our housekeeper, non-negotiable. The yellow was things that I could adjust. It would be a little bit difficult, but I could adjust them if I wanted to. And then the green was things that I could get rid of if I needed to. Now, obviously there's this gray section down here.
I'm going to pause this so that you can look at this. And again, I'm going to keep saying this, you guys, because this is not about shaming her. This is not about saying, well, she just doesn't know how to manage her money. That's not what this is. This is about the hidden expenses to run a multi-level marketing business. That's what we're looking at. So she's got a lot of her personal expenses on here. I think those two should be separated. That's just my opinion. We'll leave that to the professionals to give that kind of financial advice. But you see lots of stuff. Her car payment, tally payment, Best Buy. Oh wait, her car payment's $1,370. That's she probably gets a car bonus if she's still qualified for that rank. I'm not really sure. But her car payment, her car bonus, there it is, from Pruvit, unless she has a wrapped Tesla, unless they've changed the policies, I'm not saying this as a fact, is typically $800. So this is something, and I'm going to, full transparency, when I first bought my Range Rover, my payment was $1,277. So I was getting $800 a month from Pruvit when I was qualifying for that rank, but I was still coming out of pocket for $477 from the money that was coming in. But it was all about, in my opinion, it was all about how that looked on social media, in a sense. And so when I'm looking at this, I'm going, okay, well, her car payment is $1,370. I don't even know. I think she drives a Range Rover or something. I'm not really sure. But her car payment is $1,370, and she's only probably getting $800 a month from Pruvit. So there's money that something can be done about. Anyways, so then she's got credit cards, an IRS payment of $250. So that's interesting. Gas, toll fee, Amazon Prime, water and trash. She's got all of her business expenses and personal expenses all in one place. Okay. She's got Upwork. That's probably for a personal like a virtual assistant. I also have a virtual assistant that helps me grow on Instagram. I think Upwork is fantastic, by the way. And so that's also something that can be, she could probably do the work herself, you know, if she's really trying to cut expenses. That's the place that I'm coming from on this. Community, that is a text app. Linktree, HP Inc., QuickBooks, Prime Core, Apple, and there's some other things. But what I really want you to pay attention to is this gray area at the bottom. And I know it's probably small on your screen, but at the bottom, you will see the mastermind of $2,500. That's Eric Worre's mastermind. And I can't help but wonder what her leader, you guys know who her leader is, thinks about that mastermind payment being canceled. Because from what I remember, and I know that a lot seems to have changed, that was a requirement to be a part of the Empire's lab. So I don't know if that's changed, but just some interesting kind of pieces that I wanted to bring to your attention. So let's keep watching this.
Here, these were things that I actually ended up eliminating, which is why they're marked as gray now. But I got my budget down from this $9,000.
Did you guys hear that? I know I paused it really quickly. Her expenses were $9,000. Keep in mind, this is all personal and business, it appears, all in one. So it costs her $9,000 to live and to run her Pruvit business. Okay.
To, I'm close to like this, right?
So here we have $5,200. So she cut out about $4,000 worth of expenses, but it's still costing her about $5,200.
Now like $52 a month, which is really cool. I cut out like a lot of unnecessary things.
That is cool. I think that's cool.
And that's how I got started.
Okay. That being said, there are some things that I noticed on that spreadsheet that are not necessarily being accounted for that I feel like are very important. Remember at the beginning of this video, I talked about how when there's new products, you order the new products. With Pruvit specifically, when there's a new flavor that drops, you have to pay full price for it. You don't typically, unless it's a special sale, you don't typically get a discounted price as a promoter for the new flavor. And on this particular team, you are encouraged to buy at least 2 boxes, one that is caffeinated and one that is uncaffeinated. And the way that they justify that is because you never know what your customers are going to want. So there is this premise that, you know, you buy these 2 boxes and you have your own little, you know, you drink 5 on your own and then you sell the other 15 as trials and it pays for that. But there are many people within Pruvit and specifically within this team that will do that. And that's another way that front loading happens on this team. People are ordering these boxes and they're drinking them and they're like, it's a tax write-off, it's totally fine. But it's still money in versus money out. On this spreadsheet, there is no mention of ketones that I have seen, that I could see from it. And so that is a huge expense. And the reason that I say that is because, yes, if you have 2 customers, unless they've changed their policies, which they very well could have, but when I was in, if you had 2 customers that were on SmartShip, they would take the average of those 2 orders that month, and that's the amount of free product that you would get. It would show up as a free product credit. You still have to pay tax and you still have to pay shipping. Those are expenses. That's not accounted for on this spreadsheet. In addition to that, when there are, and I don't remember last month, some of the new flavors or a new flavor, if it dropped last month with Pruvit, but if there were, I guarantee you she ordered it. And that is not accounted for on that spreadsheet. So if there were any extra orders of products, if there were new flavors, plus the cost of auto ships, I guarantee you she has an auto ship, and I guarantee you her new wife also has an auto ship. That money is coming from somewhere. And if she's got on this spreadsheet a mix of her personal and her business expenses, that should be on there. That definitely should be on there, and it's not accounted for. That's not me, again, shaming her. That's me just saying, these are the hidden expenses that are not discussed. Well, you're drinking free ketones. You're still paying shipping and tax on it. That money is coming out somewhere, plus the ordering of new flavors and stuff from the undue influence of leaders in that company. And again, just my opinion, and also based on my experience. So the other thing I find interesting, this has nothing to do with the video, but some of you have reached out, and I find it really interesting that on Jessie Lee's anonymous stories that allegedly she was saying that I was a lesbian. First of all, when did that become an insult? That's not an insult. But second of all, if she's going to use that as an insult, I find it really interesting that she was officiating? Yeah. Sydney's wedding just a few weeks ago in Mexico. If she's going to use being a lesbian as an insult, I find that odd. Also, I wonder how Sydney feels about that, knowing that somebody that she's supposed to be really close to is using her sexual orientation as an insult. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think of that in the comments. I found it quite interesting. I'm not a lesbian, but I've been with my husband for 20 years. So odd. Anyways, the other part of this video that I want to talk about is I actually had an accountant reach out to me, and this is an accountant that works with major brands. She is certified. I'm going to keep her anonymous for obvious reasons. And she has looked at these numbers, and she had some things she emailed me, and I want to share them with you. So here's what she has to say. Okay, number one, the monthly mastermind, and she said the same thing I did. She basically wonders what Jessie Lee thinks about it because all of a sudden that mastermind has dropped off of her expenses. And the interesting part for me from the information that you guys have shared with me is from multiple people too. Multiple people have said they feel like in the past several months that she, and when I say she, I mean Sydney, has been like, I don't know how to word this, but I guess begging for sales, begging for people to buy trials, to fund her wedding, to fund different things. But as we're looking at this spreadsheet, it makes me wonder if what you guys have sent me is her just trying to get in the green versus where she was showing us that she was at. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. Okay. The second thing is, this one is harder to see because you can't see the header in the column. So you have to infer based on the video. But it appears that in the most recent month, her regular pruvit income was $3,976. plus other income of $1,054. Not sure if that's pruvit bonuses or social media money, for total inflows of $5,030. Her outflows were $5,262 for, yes, you read that correctly, a net outflow of $232 for the month, meaning she is $232 in the red based off of her monthly expenses. And again, I'm gonna keep saying this throughout the video because this is not about her. It's not about shaming her. This is about, listen, she shared this. We're able to see the numbers, and it is backing up everything that I have shared and other content creators that have talked about the hidden expenses and what it actually costs to be a part of these multi-level marketing companies. I'm going to keep saying that. I want to make sure that that point is very clear. Okay. Granted, her expenses included personal expenses as well as business, which is not how you properly evaluate the success of a business, but I digress. She cut out over $4,000 of monthly expenses prior to this. So just imagine how much money she was previously hemorrhaging. Yeah. Okay, next point. Based on the above income of $5,030 per month, she's making average of about $60,000 per year. I am also not sure if this budget includes just her income or also includes her wife's income. If that includes her wife's income, then that's even worse. Yet she continues to call herself a verified six-figure earner. Next point. She's making $250 monthly IRS payments for a total of $3,000 a year. Since she's self-employed, she presumably isn't paying the IRS any other way, i.e., no payroll deductions. This implies that her projected taxable income for the year is an amount that would warrant a tax liability of $3,000. Assuming a single filer tax bracket of 15%, but I think she sent me another email and said actually it should be 12%. That implies that she expects taxable income of about $25,000 for the current year. Yikes. Are you guys following this? Okay. She also mentions Sydney's best friend, Brittany Anderson. Brittany Anderson posted the other day that she paid over six figures in taxes. This is just another example, okay? You don't need to, you guys know. She was called out in her stories, and that would imply that she had over $320,000 of net income, not gross, because decimals don't count. Remember, this is coming from an accountant, okay? She replied with a screenshot showing that she conveniently made over $320,000, which that's an income claim to do that. I do not believe Brittany is pulling in that kind of income. And if that number is right, a big portion must be driven by her husband's job. Either way, the difference between two people that are both part of the inner circle is interesting, and I agree with that. So that was what came specifically from an accountant who looked at the budget, looked at the numbers, did the math because of the information that was shared. And again, this was shared publicly in her stories. I'm going to keep saying it, you guys. It's not about shaming her. It's about shining a light on what actually is happening in multi-level marketing companies. In my opinion, you have these leaders that are not qualified to give any kind of financial advice, and they do kind of behind the scenes. But then you have people that come from different walks of life when it comes to managing money. And so you have this illusion of, well, I'm getting checks from my company. For some people, I'm getting these checks, so money is coming in. So I see that there's money in my bank account. And so it's totally okay if I order that new product. It's totally okay if I get that new line. It's totally okay if I get these two products. And that's not even taking into account the fact that there are many people that order the new products and just put it on a credit card, thinking that on this team, And in this company, okay, I'm going to order this on my credit card and I'm going to pay it off when I sell the trials. But there are so many people, in my opinion, and again, based on my experience, that do not sell trials. So they have all these products on the shelves. That's how that happens, in my opinion. So, and again, this is not to shame her. This is not to shame anybody in an MLM. This is, I really want this video to be an educational type resource for those that if you're in an MLM, please get with an accountant. Please do a profit and loss statement, work with them and see where you're at, because I would venture to say that there are many people in a multi-level marketing company right now that are paying to be a part of that company, meaning you are not making a profit. You are in the red. You're literally paying out to be a part. And this is just how I see it. You're literally paying to work for free as that company's marketing and advertising team. And I talked about this on Instagram today. And, there are so many MLMers that will say, you're sharing your coffee order or you're sharing whatever from a retail brand and you're not getting paid for it. But the reality is, many of them are not getting paid for the amount of work, time, energy, and effort that they are putting in to running this online business. And judging from the fact that according to these comp plans, you get paid anytime you sell a product or you recruit somebody, those are the only times you're getting paid. So if you really think about it, these people that are shaming people for sharing their coffee order, for example, they're not getting paid for all of the lives that they're doing. Unless their channel or their platform is monetized, they're typically not getting paid for many of those things. So going live on multiple platforms, planning social media content, putting their products in their stories, all of the messages that they send, they're not getting paid for any of those activities. So I find it interesting that they're going to shame people for sharing a coffee order, but they're not getting paid for the majority of their time and what they are doing on social media. And to me, it just feels like they're working for that MLM company as part of their marketing and advertising team for free. But they're going to shame somebody from sharing something that they like just because they like it. That's odd to me. So anyways, all of this kind of, I want to say, proves the point of these are the hidden expenses. These are the things that we don't talk about. And in my opinion, as you are somebody that moves up in ranks, there's more pressure for more expenses. You are expected, in my opinion, to go to all of the events because leaders show up. How many times have you guys heard that statement? If you were a part of an MLM company, you are expected, coaching, training, just all of these things that are expenses. And at the end of the day, it's money in versus money going out. So if you're in an MLM, do a profit and loss statement, work with a professional. This video was not meant to shame anybody. It is, again, I want this to be an educational type video. And if you're in an MLM, I just really want you guys to start looking at, hey, am I paying to be a part of this company? You can like the products, that's cool, but are you paying to be a part of a company? Are you in the red every month just to say that you're part of a community? If so, it might be time to really look at those numbers and look at what it's costing you to do that. So anyways, if you are not a part of an MLM, don't join an MLM, okay? And I am really excited to see your commentary. I appreciate you guys being here. If you love the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and also if you want to be notified when I post a video or go live, click the bell notification. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you so much, and you and I are working together to help get these videos, especially videos like this, that are more educational and awareness type videos out to people that may need them, that have the potential to be preyed on, because we all know that there's certain demographics that people within these companies kind of go after. So you and I together, whether it's you commenting, sharing this video out, sending it to a friend or whatever, that's how we get this message out together. So thank you guys for being a part of that. And yeah, yikes. I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, everybody.